How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, I wanted to talk to you guys in relation to two bits. One, Rassie potentially renewing his contract with the Springboks, and two, Jasper Wissels' red card. Now, I want to go into both of these and I want to know what your guys' thoughts are. So please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And let's break it down. So first up, I want to be speaking about Rassie Erasmus, right? Now, everybody knows him as Rassie. He's quite possibly one of the most iconic head coaches that South Africa has ever had. Helped lead South Africa to two World Cups. Not only that, two immediately after each other. One in 2019, the other in 2023. Now, in my opinion, Rassie is quite possibly one of the best things to happen to the world of rugby since rugby, right? Especially to South Africa. He really helped bring the best out in the Springboks. He really, he brought that essence, he brought that fire, he brought that passion back to the Springboks and really made them not only a leading force in rugby, but a truly dominant force in rugby, doing which no team has ever done before, winning. Well, I think there's only one team that has done this before and winning back-to-back World Cups. Now, can South Africa go on to win the third? This is something that Rassie potentially wants. He not only wants to continue his contract up until 2027, he wants to continue it up until 2031, right? Now, there are a couple suitors in place, and there's a couple people that potentially want Rassie Erasmus. Honestly, I do feel that his heart is with the Springboks. I feel that his heart is with South Africa, and we will see Rassie extend for however long he is needed as at the Springboks. Personally, I fear the day that when we do leave and when we do lose Rassie Erasmus, because in my opinion, the guy, he is a national treasure. He's somebody to, he should get statues made out of him when he does eventually, end up retiring from the game completely. So Rassie Erasmus, please sign up until 2031, 2035. I understand you're human, but I do not want to lose you. So let's all hope that Rassie continues on his brilliant work with the Springboks, brings in another generation, maybe even two generations, and really continues to bring the best out in the Springboks. Now, in saying that, I want to move on into my next topic, you can say, and that's Jasper Wissels. Now, he ended up getting a red card in the game up against Italy, and honestly, the dominance that South Africa had, they could have won. Well, they won with 14 men at points, 13 men, and they probably could have won with 12, maybe even 11 men, considering the performances that each individual player put in. But I wanted to talk to you guys in relation to the headbutt, right? Because he ended up getting a headbutt. He ended up headbutting. I can't remember who. I think it was Daniele Fischetti. And I personally feel that this was taken way out of proportion, right? Obviously, there's always the tussling and so on. And I do not, to a certain degree, you can kind of say there was contact, but I wouldn't say it's more of a contact as touch. That's just my opinion. There's a lot of things get heated, but I don't feel he intentionally went and headbutt the player. It was more just a fact of their heads touched, right? And obviously, once you do have contact, that does change up quite a few things. But it was an instant red. Now, throughout these past year at least, we've always seen the TMO get involved in everything, everywhere. There's always this big thing, the game's held up, and I don't know. I just feel more needed to be done in relation to this. Yes, South Africa ended up winning the game, but if they didn't, this would have come down as a big factor. It just comes down to the performance. It's not that talked about because ultimately, again, South Africa ended up winning and they ended up winning comfortably. But in moments like this, I do feel that the decision making for the referees are very skewed, And, there needs to be a lot more consistency throughout the game. This is always something that is a big part of rugby, just in any sport that requires a referee. There's always, the human factor. You can make mistakes. Everybody can make mistakes, which is why they have the TMO to kind of try and avoid as many mistakes as possible. Whether the TMO tries to involve themselves far too much in games is a story for a different day. But I don't feel that that was a straight red, in my opinion. I feel that would have been a yellow, and then with an off-field review, and who knows, it might have then changed into a red, but I don't feel it was a straight red that left South Africa with a play down completely. At least with a yellow and then changed to a red, South Africa, they would have been without a player for 20 minutes and then bring on a replacement. Again, I feel if South Africa had to lose the game, or if it was even slightly closer, this would have been a big fact. It would have been a big issue, but it wasn't. Things, I don't know, things need to become more consistent. How it can become more consistent, I don't know. Rassie normally tends to have a few good ideas in relation to this, but this could have affected the game quite heavily. It just so happens that the Springboks really pulled their finger out their backside and put in an absolutely dominant display, not allowing Italy to get a single point on the board. I just felt that this decision was poor. More needed to be done, and I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are in relation to it. So please, as always, like and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.